because I'm going to have something there. Go.
Okay, we're live. Hey, welcome now to Build Your Own Home live chat Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We do this general contractor, working general contractor. A lot of interesting videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have a lot of interesting projects. I actually did a video today of my daughter's first build on her own. And I had a little piece of advice for all fathers and mothers when they're about to pass on a business to their children. And so look for that to come in the next 2 weeks. That's going to be a great little video. My wife has a really great presentation today with some guests today. So I'm just going to turn it over to her, and I'm just going to be a wonderful sidebinder or bystander. How do you say bystander? So it's yours, honey.
Okay, great. We are so excited to share a story about some owner builders. And this is Cheryl and Joseph's story. It's a mother and son story. And they sent me their info. So I wanted to read. There's something powerful about watching someone refuse to give up on a dream. And this story is about a woman who will turn 70 this June. She is a cancer survivor, and she uses a walker. Years ago, after a bad fall and a terrible experience in a nursing home, she made the decision she was going to build a home where she could stay independent for as long as possible. For nearly 40 years, she lived in a single wide mobile home on the same property. She moved that mobile home onto the land decades ago after selling almost everything she owned just to get out of the renting cycle. She and her family started with a travel trailer, then moved into a single wide, paid it off, and searched for land. One day, down in a narrow road in the woods, they found the perfect property. So I have a picture of that too.
Cool.
Even before it was listed, she knew it was the place for her. She said she did not care. She had to live in a tent because the land was perfect. And she gave me a whole bunch of photos. I'm sharing some of them with you. Now, almost 4 decades later, she and her son are finally building the home they have dreamed about. It's not a giant home. They had to redesign it, downsize it, re-engineer it to fit their budget. But to them, 1,458 square feet with a covered porch and 2-car garage feels like a mansion compared to the mobile home they have lived in for years. They designed the home for an aging in place. There is a roll-in entry from the garage and concrete ram covered porch and 2 master bedrooms. Her room has a window seat, and her son's room has a separate door so he can step outside and enjoy the mountain views and wildlife. So I think that I have a garage picture too. So this is where they are. Well, I think this is a little bit before. This freedom is, this is dignity. This is a way for her to stay out of a nursing home and stay in the place she loves. What I love most about this story is how they are making it happen. Her son works just 15 minutes away, and when he gets off work, he goes to the build site to clean up and help. She handles the office work. Here, I'll give you some more photos. There's another one.
That looks like fun.
She handles the office work, the phone calls, spreadsheets, scaling, bids, and research. He handles the physical work, and together they became the general contractor on their own home. So they're owner builders. She said that after downsizing the plans, getting them re-engineered, and realizing they could not afford a general contractor, they started searching on YouTube for help. And that's when they found Keith and I. She said she still remembers hearing Keith put his hand on his heart and say, "It pains me to say this," because he is a general contractor, "but you don't need a general contractor to build." And that moment changed everything for them. It gave them the confidence that maybe they really could do this.
Well, that's cool. That's a great story.
There's still more. Sorry, honey, just a minute. They started watching the live stream every week. They became students in the How to Build Your Own Home course. The forms in the program really helped them stay organized. the checklists, the planning tools, the weekly encouragement helped take away a lot of the fear and unknown stress that comes with building. She said the forums were a lifesaver. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by trying to manage the entire build at once, the course helped them take it step by step. They learned how to find contractors, how to get bids, how to ask better questions, how to work with their permitting office. And she says the permitting office is really nice. And how to stay in control of their budget and timeline. It helped understand that they did not have to know everything on day one. They just had to keep learning and keep moving forward. And during COVID, while she was still going through chemo, she started searching Facebook Marketplace for materials. She found tile, flooring, bricks, pavers, and other building products that people wanted out of their garage. Some were free, some were cheap. She kept spreadsheets of what they found, how much they paid, and how much they saved. It gave her hope. It gave her purpose. It gave her something joyful to look forward to. She also talked about the people who helped them make this possible. A supportive permitting office, contractors who were patient and honest, a foundation expert who noticed the rolling garage elevation needed to be changed before they could pour concrete, framers who care about their crew and responded quickly. So I have some framers. Let me find the framing. Here we go. Friends who believe in her, her son, and weekly support of the live streams that reminded them that they were not alone in this process. But maybe the most powerful part of her story is this. For years, people told her she would never build this house. She was told she could not do it because she was a woman, because she was older, because she had health problems, because she didn't have a general contractor, because the process was too complicated. But she did not believe them. She said, when someone tells you that you can't do something like this, do not believe them. That is the time to dig in your heels and put one of the foot in front of the other. Her personal motto is be strong, press on, and work it out. And she reminds herself, remember to breathe. I think there are so many people watching today who have a dream sitting in their heart. Maybe it is a home, maybe it is land, maybe it is finally getting out of the renting cycle. Maybe it is starting over after a hard season. You do not have to do it all today. You just have to take the first step. Maybe that step is finding land. Maybe it's sketching out your floor plan. Maybe it's talking to your permitting office. Maybe it's watching the videos and learning the process. Maybe it's just joining a course like How to Build Your Own Home so you can have support, systems, forms, and the confidence to know you really can do this. Dreams do not happen all at once. They happen one step, one decision, one bid, one permit, one load of materials, and one day at a time. And 39 years from now, maybe you will be standing in the middle of your dream too. I have one more picture. And that's where they're at right now. This is updated. And this is Cheryl and Joseph. So thank you for sharing your story and letting us share it with others.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous all that forest. My forest is all burnt down. So that is a wonderful, wonderful story. We need to get on a road trip and just meet a lot of these people. I'm almost tempted to do that sometime, but I need a little camper trailer.
We'll get there. That's our goal. That's our goal. If you want to know, our goal is that we want to go out and help you guys and see you, and maybe even have events here locally. I wanted to get a Google sheet. So after this video is over, in the description, I'm going to put in a Google form and just kind of get an idea if you would like to have an event that you can go and see some of the sites that we're doing and working on and have specialists come in. Let us know in the comments section if that's something you would like to do.
Yeah, I just got an email from a student in California. She had a fire burnt down in the Coyote fire, and she just finished it. Her name's Olga. She's
Really?
listening, Olga. I've been watching you, Olga. And so we need to go down and visit Olga. And I have so many students students that are building really affordable homes, students that are building 20,000 square foot homes, students building really incredible cabins in the mountains, just students all over the place. So it's really a touching thing to hear that story. We got a lot of questions. Want to get through some questions, honey? Go ahead. Okay, we have talked before about sheathing underneath soffit, how overhangs and porch ceilings. How important is it? If I do solid metal without perforations, will it give me the fire resistance that I need? Yes, if it's without perforations. There's a rating as to how small that perforation can be, especially with roof venting. I can't remember the actual size of that, but if it's smaller than that rating, then embers can't get underneath there. But me, I love to sheet my soffits and my lids under my porch because I love the extra meat to mount things onto, whether it's metal or hardy or whatever it might be. That's just me, and I am moved away from excessive venting as a result. And I do have some venting, but not what most people are used to. So yeah, you're in good shape as long as there's no perforations in there. You should be just fine. Just make sure you have enough meat of wood to fasten that metal to, and you should be fine.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Robert again.
Okay, what do you do if you find subcontractor workers drinking on the job while the subcontractor is not there supervising? Good question. After all these years, somebody finally feels my pain. I'm willing to bet I know what subcontractor it is. And if I'm right, please let me know. I'm willing to bet it's your drywallers. For some reason, drywallers just drink. And the reason being, especially the hangers, not so much the tape and texture guys, but the hangers. And why is that? Of all the skill sets that's required of anything to build a home, that's the easiest entry, the lowest skill set required. And I don't mean to demean drywallers in any way, but it's not that hard. You can pick up this skill in just a couple of weeks. And as a result, it just kind of goes with the territory. If it's kind of an easy task to do and people don't want to advance to learn craftsmanship and woodworking or framing, which requires a lot of thinking, or roofing, which requires good health and physical fitness and kinetic ability. I mean, a lot of other skill sets require something that puts a little bit of a task on the person. And as a result, you just can't drink it all. There's just no way. But hanging drywall doesn't require much. And if I'm right, please let me know. So what do you do if you find subcontractor working, drinking on the job? That's your call. You're the boss. You get to make that decision. You can say, leave today, come back more tomorrow. Don't come back drunk. If you do, you lose the contract and I will not pay you. And all that kind of stuff. You can write stuff like that in a subcontractor agreement if you want to, and especially something to write into a skill set that might be prone to that. So you might want to check that out. Again, you get to decide. You're the boss. And if it's written into an agreement in advance or even verbally understood, then you have some better teeth to stand on. Yeah. And there's
also
probably
dangerous.
What's that?
It's dangerous. They need to get off the property right away.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and especially if it's hard liquor. I've never seen any hard liquor. I've only seen beer, and that's just the way some guys are. They operate for drinking a couple of cervezas. That's just the way they are. But let me know what the subcontractor is. I'd like to know.
Do you ask them to leave, and if they don't leave, you call the police?
No, you can't necessarily call the police unless they're actually driving something. If they're there, I'm not going to get somebody in trouble. But there are some legal issues like that. When I was a bartender, I had to take what's called a sips and tips class, and I had to be certified, meaning I was responsible if I send somebody out in a car that was drunk. So you don't want to do that if they're really. And most of the cases they're not drunk. They're operating, while a little bit intoxicated. You don't want to send them on a car. You might want to
Get an
call the
Uber.
foreman, call the subcontractor, the owner of the company, let them know about it. It does need to be communicated, and it needs to stop. It's something we see in these trades, especially in residential. You don't see it in commercial, and you don't see it in a lot of other stuff, but you do see it in the trades with residential work, especially with tract homes. Oh, it's really bad with tract homes. So if you do see that, try to put nip it in the butt as soon as you possibly can. My pet peeve is not only do they do that, but they leave the cans everywhere, and it's like obvious. And that's what irks me is a client comes on a job site and they see a beer cans laying around or bottle cans, and I go, oh my gosh, it's really embarrassing. I've fired several people because of that, and it's always drywallers. For some dumb reason, I can't figure out why draw just on my best guess. So best of luck with that, but don't get intimidated by it. Tell them this is something you don't put up with. Smoking as well. You just don't smoke around a new home, and having that smoke affect the timbers, affect the materials that are there. To me, that's just as bad because you're affecting the product and quality of the thing you're building. Not so. There's a lot of issues. Smoking and drinking, bad news.
He said it's a siding contractor.
I was close.
He's like, he says I found beer cans and containers. So
yeah, that's another skill set.
Framers have done it too.
Yeah, that's another skill set that doesn't require too much thinking. You'll see it with framers on a hot July and August day. They're just going to have a couple of surveys, and you'll see that, but not as much as you will with some other subcontractors.
Let's go on.
Ask him to stop. Good question. Real Corey Burnett. I just finished building my first house, 2,600 square feet, Dallas Bishop Arts District. I built the house to sell it. Should I scale up and build a bigger house for my next project, or try to build the same size? Really good question. I would talk to a realtor first. Only because it's not going to help. It's not going to be a bad thing to talk to them.
Yeah, and I don't know your market, but 2,600 square feet is a really good size for multiple people downsizing. And if it's a single level, it's even better. And then families moving up. 2,600 square feet is pretty good. And if you've already done it once, you probably know how you could probably just tweak it to make it go smoother and be better. And then that's a really good size.
Yeah.
To go bigger is always more risk. So that's what I'd say.
You have the potential of making more money the bigger the home you make. You also have the greater risk.
Oh yeah,
greater. So it's cheaper to build bigger, but there's greater risk to sell it and not sell it. And so if you're not really aware of the market, the more in the affordable range you can stay, the better off you'll be until you really learn the ropes of your market. So with that said, I hope that, I'm wrestling with possibly speccing out a $3.2 million home. And I'm weighing a lot of factors with regard to that. I've done 800,000. I've done $1 million on specs, but I haven't gone that big. And
that's not just you.
So there's risks involved.
That's other people involved too.
Yeah. But it'd still be more than what I'm used to.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the freedom for you. Your content. Thank you for doing this. Looking forward to using your course in a few months. Long-time listener, first time live. Thanks. First time live. Okay. Give us a thumbs up, everybody. Let's get this out.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
Okay. The freedom for you. In previous live streams, you recommended putting a dimple mat over the sheeting and behind the exterior insulation mineral wool for drainage. It makes sense, but wouldn't that defeat the purpose of exterior insulation if you have airflow behind the insulation pulling in cold air via stack effect located in Seattle?
Yeah, your local building official will help you understand your humidity factor, and depending upon how close you are to the coast right there. The diplomat's a really good idea, but you don't need the diplomat in connection with the mineral wool if you're using mineral wool or any insulation, because that mineral wool is going to act as a diplomat. So all you need is just a simple vapor barrier, like a Tyvek or something like that. That's all you need behind that. Um, and I think you'll be fine. I have something in my kitchen I want to show you. Give me a second. You can go ahead and talk, honey.
Okay, I'll just keep going. How are you today? We're doing great. It's sunny here. Everybody in the chat, put down where you're watching from. We'd love to see where everybody's at, because we have a good group right now. And thanks for that thumbs up, I see.
This is a product I got in the mail, and it's 140 psi strength exterior insulation. So what does that mean? A lot of the insulation I've been putting on can crunch, and it can be affected by a little bit of pressure. But I researched this and found this, and you can get it in an inch, inch and a half, and 2 inches. This is a 2-inch piece. But the neat thing about it is if there's a lot of products and exterior siding and shingling and all kinds of stuff you can put on an exterior of a home. And when you try to nail those in with some lesser dense insulation products, it can tend to bend, and it doesn't take the nail, and it can concave a little bit into the insulation. This doesn't. This is so thick and so dense, I can't even squish it. That's how dense it is. But it comes in 80, 110, 120, and 140 psi. And it's a Corning product, Owens Corning product. I'm not advocating sponsoring them. I'm just saying it exists. And when something exists and there's no competitor, I have to let people know about it. When you have a competitor, you want to go find the best competitor, then I find those. But I just want to let people know it exists. But go and read. It's called Rain Barrier CI, High Compressive Max, and that's what it's called, High Compressive Max Rain Barrier CI. Something you might want to check out. So great. Hi, Keith. Yeah. I had a civil engineer and a geotech draw me up a grading plan. It has been approved through the county already. Today, my grader said he will need fill dirt. Who made the mistake? There's no mistake. Okay. The grading plan indicated the grading elevation as to where the grading would take place. That doesn't say how much needs to be brought in or how much needs to be taken out. It just says this is where the grading plan is going to sit on the home. And then if you have that grading plan, you could have given it to an excavator and said, I need a bid on the foundation pad ready. Then I need a bid on utility trenching, footings, whatever else you may need. And then I need a bid on final grade. And a lot of people, when they get a bid from an excavator, they don't include all of those things. They just say, I need an excavation bid on this. And they may or may not give them a geotech report. And hopefully they got the grading plan. If they knew all that in advance, they can estimate approximately how much fill dirt they need to bring into the area. And that's probably a little bit of a blind spot. So a real blind spot with a lot of owner builders. So, but it shouldn't be too costly.
Let me add just 2 more on this. Okay. So
I have a county-approved grading plan prepared by a civil and geotech engineer that doesn't require import fill, but my grading contractor now says additional dirt is needed. Is there any more to that? How do I determine whether this is due to a design error, unforeseen site conditions, or a contractor mistake, and who would be responsible for the added cost? You're responsible for the added cost. Now, the reason for that is because, let's say, for example, a framer can bid the labor, okay, to build a home, all right? But let's say the lumber yard estimated a certain amount of lumber package, but they were short, and they may have needed an extra 600 studs, okay? That's still a cost that you have to absorb. An excavator can give a bid, but if the excavator didn't bid the grading plan, and if it wasn't itemized in his thing, you have to look at his bid. And if the bid said import dirt, not accounted for, it does not include any additional import dirt or something that may be needed. If there's some sort of a line like that, then it's really not his responsibility. So it's really, you're engaging in contract. Again, you're a contractor. You're not a builder, you're a contractor. You're engaging in contract. So you got to find out, and it's not going to be on the geotech report, and it's not going to be on the grading plan, because I've never really trusted grading plans. They're never accurate. It's an assumption. It's an approximation as to where things are going to grade. But I tell you, every site that I work on is always different. I had a plan built or designed by a very experienced architect who's built or designed multi-million-dollar homes for 2 decades now. And they set that home as best they could based on topography that they knew about, but it was still 4 feet off. I had to lift the home 4 feet. All right. As I started to dig, as I started to extricate dirt from the site, things just change. And when you dig out dirt, and this is the honest truth, it changes its density structure, and it either fluffs up or it just super compacts, and it changes. Imagine you're digging into dirt that's been sitting there for decades and decades and eons and eons. It has not been disturbed. You're now going to disturb that. That's going to affect everything about that, the strata and layers of everything. But look at your contracts and look at the excavator and see what he said or did not say in the bid. I could talk forever about that.
And on excavation, don't you put a little padding on your excavation because it seems like there's always needed?
Yeah, if you look at the budget, if you're using the budget that I've prepared for you, there's a 3 to 5% contingency in excavation. And I do that on all my homes. I'm doing it with a client, and I ordered three truckloads of crusher fines to put under the pad, also under the driveway when the concrete guy's ready to start, because I want that stability. But it was accounted for in the excavation bid, and plus I sold some soil for him. He had extra sand on his job, and I sold it to another job, and it made him some money, so it helped out with that. So that contingency's there. If you look at the budget at the bottom of that section on excavation, I have line item after line item after footings, trenching, everything. And you can put in all those costs, and you should put in a contingency in there for excavation. It's going to save your bacon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Hey, we haven't seen you.
Hi, great story. Thanks for sharing. Which trade typically does soffit fascia? I might end up being a biscuit head. That your siding, typically your siding crew can install the soffit and fascia, and it can aluminum crew, same crew that typically installs rain gutters. They do that a lot of the time, and you can just call in or look up aluminum soffit and fascia contractors, and they can tell you that. Or it's your siding crew, and they may just put Hardy or some other product on there. But just keep in mind, if you do something to your soffit and fascia that requires maintenance, you're going to wish you didn't put it on. You're going to wish you put something that's not going to require any maintenance over a long period of time, because it's out of the way, it's high up, requires a ladder scaffold to get to. That's the kind of maintenance you don't want to have on a home. So, good question. Analog digital 53. That's cool. Hey guys, do you install soffit before stucco? And do you paint the soffit before installing it? Really good question. It depends. I like to have the stucco, the gray coat, which is the lath, and the gray coat go up all the way past the lid of where the soffit is going to go. If you do that and have them go past, then when the soffit material comes in, it's a nice clean connection to the stucco, and then the finish coat of the stucco can go right up to it and seal off that little area. Or you can just go gray coat and finish coat and go all the way, and hopefully they don't have any gaps that go below where the soffit's going to go. Just make sure they go all the way up, and then put your soffit in later. But most stucco contractors in our area will do the finish coat after the soffit and fascia are installed. That's if they're doing aluminum. But if you're not doing aluminum or hardy or some other material, you might just stucco that whole thing, which is not I don't like that. My daughter loves it, and you'll see in a video. It's the only thing that we think differently on. And so just keep that in mind. And if you do stucco it, it's really going to be helpful if you sheet that whole thing. Otherwise, what are they going to staple to? What are they going to staple the lath to? So good question. But if it's aluminum, do it after the gray coat, but before the finish coat. Venom Bunny 94. Thank you so much, Keith and Melissa, for highlighting our story. You gave us the confidence to get this far. The roof is going on today. We'll send you updated pictures. Please do so. That would be wonderful. We want to keep apprised of your progress.
Yeah.
If I can get to a leaf dice team, that's an interesting name. If I can get the financing needed to buy land, improve land, and build my home in one go, are there still reasons to consider building in stages?
I do it in one go if you can afford it.
If you can, and if the local permitting offices allows you to do that. The real ticket is the permitting office and what they will and will not allow. But getting land and walking on the land and feeling that that's your land, that's really powerful. And getting it paid off, or even just buying the land and making payments. And then every weekend or so, you drive there and clean it up. You get brush removed, you remove trees or whatever. That's just a forward progress. And then the neat thing is you have the down. It's like money in the bank, and it may even improve in valuation versus cash in the bank. So
yeah, depending on your area.
Yeah, just check your area, know your market, know what's going on. And if you got it for a great deal, then even better. So good question.
I think the biggest part of doing it in stages is that you will have less debt. But if you can get it all done in one swoop, then do it in one swoop.
Yeah.
Because if you drag it out too long, then you run into other issues. So
yeah.
Like, I'll give you one issue. Like, as a realtor, yeah, the garage with the apartment was built in this year, and then the house was built in 2027. And then, so when they go to list the property, they usually have to go off of the oldest building, the original building that went in, and then you have to put in the remarks, but this and this and this. So that's why it's good to have it all in one swoop, then it's all in that year.
Okay.
Jonathan. Go.
I just got back from Foshan, China for cabinets and windows. Had a great experience. If anyone wants to know more, more happy to give you the information.
Okay. Thanks. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just reach out to him through the messaging there, and you can make contact with each other. One more question. Really Must I have the strap shear inspection before I start topping out plumbing, HVAC, etc., or can I start rough top outs before the inspection? You can usually have those inspected at the same time. However, I found if I can get the inspector to pass off all my strap shear framing inspection, then that whole thing is clear and I can move forward. The worst thing to do is to have your framing inspection after all your mechanical, and then you have to fix something and mechanical's in the way. So go ahead and see if you can't. A lot of jurisdictions don't do that. Some allow for it. So see if you can't get your framing inspection all taken care of. Okay.
I hear people building in Tucson, Arizona, building in Portland, Maine. Yay.
Wow. Oxford,
Maine. Massachusetts? Oh, is that Massachusetts? Sorry. Okay.
We have Molina planning on building outside McCall, Idaho on 15 acres in the mountains. I want the 15 acres.
I know, that sounds fantastic.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Just going through, people are talking. I apologize. Okay, here, let's see if this one. Michael.
I have to dig down below finished grade to pour 12-inch footings plus 54-inch stem wall. How many feet of margin around the footers is best for workers to be able to work? 3 to 5 feet. And that's only a 4-foot stem wall, so you probably are maybe closer to 3 feet. If you're doing an 8-foot, 10-foot wall, they typically want 5 feet around there because they're dropping in these huge forms to be able to set those forms up. But that's only a 54-inch stem wall. That's what 4 feet plus almost 5 feet. That's, you can look over that, so it shouldn't be a problem. Then talk with your contractor and tell him, hey, I'm going to be doing just a 2.5, 3 foot walk around. Is that going to be accessible for you? And he'll tell you. So good question. That's a really good question. So JB555, who should do the bathroom waterproof, the plumber or the tile guy? Tile is going to do all your waterproofing, and that's mainly on your floor and also in your shower. The plumber just comes right up with a pipe, and then the tile setter takes it from there, really. And they know what they're doing. And if you have your drain ready to go, that helps too. So if you have your faucet and all that, and you have your drain for that shower, then they know what to do right after that. Okay. Good question.
Oh, he also said down here, or she, sorry, see, thanks. I mean, the bathroom include the walls and floor.
Yeah, they'll waterproof with something called Red Guard. There's another one that's blue, and they'll actually prime that whole shower with that product. And the mortar bonds to it very, very, very well. And then behind all that is something called Dent Shield, or some mold-proof drywall product, and that will be in all the showers as well. So it's a little more dense than your average drywall.
Okay, here we go.
Lady K, 25. For North Florida, man, we are all over the country today, near Alabama. What type of windows would be recommended that would be good quality, efficient, and affordable? Would you recommend to buy them from the big box stores or not? Check with your local building permit office, because you're going to have windows. If you're on the coast, you have to have a certain wind shear. They have to support a certain pressure of wind against those windows. And then check with your local, and most box stores would be able to help you with that. However, I went to a box store and was trying to get a bid on some windows, and he didn't know about the elevation changes. Like, I build in elevations that are like 5,000 feet difference. Like, I can build homes that are at 2,200 feet elevation and homes that are close to 7,000 feet in elevation. And that affects the manufacturing of windows. You wouldn't know it does, but it does. That's why they always ask, what's your zip code, where you're building? And if it's like, if I built just over this mountain on another mountain, that's at 10,000 feet. There's subdivisions and homes that are put in that are at the 10,000 foot elevation. And that really does affect your, it's like the argon gas and the pressure capacity for the window. It's like, have you ever had potato chips and you bought them at the grocery store and you go up on the mountain and those potato chips, the bag expands? Well, just imagine that affecting some of your building products that are being put on your home. So in your situation, if you're near the coast, you're going to have possible hurricane wind factors, and you might want to check with your local building official and also a local window manufacturer and those window suppliers locally, and find out from them. They'll give you a good insight.
This is just a little added part to them.
We're building an ADU, a guest house by ourselves. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have lots of conversations going on here. Hype stonks, we can say.
Oh, we had a lot of questions. Some builders near the beach in Florida install Perplex, Den Shield, or cement board for soffit and stucco over it on custom homes. Yeah, they do.
Oh, that,
Cement board,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, there's a conversation going on about soffit and fascia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to not like Den Shield, but when they do Red Guard over the Den Shield, it really does protect it. And I have not had any problems. My only concern is if you're in the Southwest or the Southeast and you've got high humidity, the cement board might be a better product than the Den Shield product because the cement board is going to dry out faster. So just look into that and talk with your local tile setters and ask them. There's a thing called it's a Hardy product. I can't remember the name of it. It's specifically designed as cement board, specifically designed for showers. And a lot of guys were putting it right on the floor. Others will do what's called a lath, a wire mesh, and then they lath right on top of that, and then they put a tile on top of that. But that Hardy is pretty good for putting on the floors and also for showers. It seems to dry out faster too. A good question.
Here's JC
JC.
8555.
Appreciate the info. So the correct sequence would be plumbing, rough in, 2, drywall installation, and 3, waterproof and tile. Yeah, but you might want to put some insulation in that before you drywall, especially if it's on an outside wall. So basically, plumbing, rough, all your mechanical gets passed off. Once it's passed off, then you do your insulation. Once the insulation is installed, then you can do your drywall. But that's assuming one of your walls in your shower is an exterior wall. If it's not on an exterior wall, then you bypass that. You might not need that. So.
Okay.
Let me go back to that.
Which one?
There's one more step we're not thinking about. It's called the pan inspection. I'm sorry. So in a shower, once you've put in your Den Shield or Hardy material or whatever it is, you put what's called a membrane down below where your pan is, and you put water in there and you let it sit for a couple of days or 24 hours. And typically inspection will come and inspect. It's called a pan inspection. And that will make sure, and when they put the water in there, they put a little mark when the water's calm, and it indicates where the water started at. And then when the inspector comes, he looks for that mark. He goes, I haven't had any water loss, which means there's no leak. And that pan inspection is important. Even if your building official doesn't ask for a pan inspection, you ask for one. You tell your tile setter, you say, go ahead and get the pan ready. And when you're ready for a pan inspection, let me know. And if he says our local building office doesn't ask for one, he says, but I do. So go ahead and put the water in it, let it sit for 24 hours, mark where the water started. I'll come in tomorrow. If I have no droppage in water, I have no leak, I'm good to go. So that's what a pan inspection is. And that's really part of all those steps. And that's in the checklist, by the way.
Okay. The great thing about coming on live is that you get to be in the conversation on the comments here.
Yeah, so, I saw Hype Stonks there. I haven't seen that guy for a while.
I know, Hype. We missed you. Some of these, yeah.
Some of these people were here for a while and then they left and now they're back.
They get so busy with building their home. Okay, let's see here.
This is
background and setting here. Most showers surrounds are now installed with a foam board system, at least here in the Northeast. No drywall, just studs. Wow.
Yeah, Northeast. That's a closed cell foam board and doesn't dry out. So it will hold water over a period of time unless you put that Red Guard on, and then that Red Guard is really going to keep that closed cell foam protected. But I like that model. I've seen it. They have a foam board for a shower that's perfectly sloped. I mean, just perfectly sloped. And I've seen tile setters do a good job, but even the best tile setters don't hit that slope just perfectly. And you can tend to have a little bit of a puddle in the shower. Whereas with those boards ready-made, ready to go, they hit it just perfectly. So there's a lot of benefit to what Michael is saying. And when they do the foam board, just tell them, I want the pan and I want the shower walls all foam board. and then you have a good opportunity there. So,
Okay, here we
and
go.
then
Here's another.
have you ever installed micro cement or tattle whatever plaster in the bathrooms? Not really. I have not. It's hard to get subcontractors to learn new technologies unless I demand it, and I haven't really demanded that. So, but yeah, good question.
Okay.
So let's see here.
Brady was saying
I'm
he
back.
likes.
Yeah, Hype Song says I'm back. Trying to finish my build. Send us some pictures, Hype Stonks, and give us a video. When you're done, send us a video, and we will push it out. We're really trying to get an opportunity to promote a lot of people out there.
Yeah. And if you guys have stories, we would love to share stories. I'll go into Discord and maybe I'll set up a story one or reach out. I put my email in there. If any of you guys are in Discord, and we would love to share your story, I can have 10 photos to share when we do your story. So just email me your story and 10 photos, and I will organize it and share it with everybody.
Yeah, just let us know. We'd love to get some videos of people. And then Brady says, love the Schluter pre-sloped pans.
Yeah,
I like those too. Yeah, research that stuff. If you're wanting to do a DIY thing, why try to hit that slope yourself in that shower? Why? And if you know you're going to have it hit it just wrong, not slope it just right, you want that shower pan to drain properly. And if it starts to puddle, then it starts to work its way in, especially the bigger the shower. And a lot of people are building bigger showers, almost 3x3, 4x4, 5x5 showers. And that's much harder to hit that slope just right. So look at some of these products that are out there. I've got 5 pan inspections next week. In one house, 5 pan inspections for one house next week. So I called my tile setter. I said, hey, let's get these started. Let's get all these with water in them marked and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, and I had a client that I built a home for, but he wanted to do the shower himself. An experienced guy, some experience in the trades, and he used Den Shield and he did it all as best he possibly could. It still leaked. And there's just a craft to it. And doing showers yourself, especially the pan, without really knowing how to seal that pipe up just right, it can be a nightmare. Now, if it's a slab on grade and you got a leak, where's the water going to go? It's going to go in the foundation. You don't want that, but that, of all places, if I were to try to do it myself and kind of mess up subtly, that's where I'd want it, because but when it's on the second floor and it's coming through the drywall, yeah, you don't want that. So
okay, we're gonna say hi to Val. She's here today, and if Hype Stocks, if we're in Florida, we'll come see you.
This one's from Stay Rich to 33. I'm working on development project and have reached out to a few land surveyors, but I haven't heard back. Do surveyors usually ignore requests if the scope isn't clear or if you are new? Both. Don't give the impression you're new. Just say you're a builder. Never call yourself an owner builder. Just and in your case, you can call yourself a developer. Say Joe's Development, a land development LLC, something. And then call yourself a developer. That way they'll come. And then, yeah, it could be because there's no real specificity in the requirement that you're asking for. So what's the best way to get a response? If they're a one-man band, you can text them here and there and give them a week or two. And if they don't respond back, they're not going to respond back. You can then look for others. But again, it's your presentation of how well you communicate yourself and whether or not you look like you're a builder, not an owner builder. So are you giving off something? I once had some clients a long time ago when I first started this program, and the wife was gumptious, very eager to get going and build a home. The husband was very insecure, and he wanted his hand to be held, and he wanted guarantees. He wanted all it, and that came off. And his wife says, "Can you talk some sense into him?" I go, "Let's do a conference call." So he did a conference call, and he was a little bit timid and a little bit uncertain about himself. And I stopped him in his tracks. I said, "Stop right there. Are you an owner builder or are you a builder?" And he says, "I'm an owner builder." "No, no, no, no. Are you a builder or an owner builder?" He says, "I guess I'm a builder." I says, "Now say it with absolute strength and confidence. I'm a builder." And when you give off that, you attract the same confidence. And it was really hard. His wife was just saying, "Yeah, we are builders. We're going to go out. We're going to do this thing." But he was very uncertain about himself. And that's a battle. And the best story I can tell is I had a business partner a long time ago. He told me an interesting story. He was in a camera shop, and he was studying cameras and learning about cameras and selling cameras. He knew how to operate a camera to sell a camera. Somebody walked in and says, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody you can refer who can film my daughter's wedding. Anybody?" And he just said, "I can do it." And he'd never done it before, but he says, "I can do it." And he went and did it and turned that into a complete career. For 10 years, supported his family, had a lot of business, had his own shop, became a photographer just because he said, "I can do that." And I had an acting coach who taught me the same thing. He said, "Keith, can you perform Hamlet on stage?" I go, "I've never performed anything on stage." He says, "Keith, can you?" I knew 3 of his monologues by heart because he asked me to memorize them. And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." Even though I've never done it before, even though I'm not prepared to do it now, but yeah, I can do it. Just give me a day and I'll be there. You have to have that kind of confidence. It's not lying. It's just saying, "Yep, I'm a builder. You're a builder." Just call yourself that and don't call yourself anything else. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
We're looking for land in Maine. We have a lot of students in Maine and North Carolina. As I'm designing our double shed roof with clear story windows with an attached greenhouse. Cool. I want to see pictures of that. Attached. You know how powerful that is to have a greenhouse on the south of a property attached to the home? Just imagine the thermal heat that you're going to gather during the day that's going to penetrate that southern wall and affect some of the efficiency of your home. Have you thought about that? I'm sure you have. That's what you are doing. You're capturing heat during the day, and you're hopefully repenetrating that into the home. And if you haven't thought about that, you might want to think about ways to even capture that more. I'll bet you if you do it right, you can affect some of the efficiency of your home. If you do it wrong and you put a full insulation barrier on there and you're not capturing some of that heat, then you could have a colder home than during the greenhouse during the day. And you might not want that. So think about that and come back with some questions next week.
Here we go.
Great. That's very helpful. Another question about the deck. If I want to install a waterproof deck or
drainage system
under the deck, what is the best way to do this? I don't do a drainage system under a deck. I do a waterproof deck. Okay. And I'm very firm on this. Don't build a deck with slats where water can work right through it. I don't care if you put the membrane plastic on the trusses, the floor trusses. I don't care if you put metal on there to redirect the water. No matter what you do, if water can get down underneath that framing structure, it's going to rot. It's going to get destroyed over time. Do a full membrane coated decking product. And there's a lot out there, and I've done a lot of videos. I'll be doing a video on one here coming up in about a week or two. I've got 2 big decks coming up, and we're putting a concrete full membrane protection deck on there, and it's going to last forever. I've got it on my deck. And so, those decks are going to last a long time. There's just not, water's not going to get behind the deck, work its way down the framing structure of the home. It's not going to get in. It's just not going to happen. And my decks are going to last a lot longer than most decks that people build up there. So I will say no more. Waterproof deck, full membrane. Okay. It's interesting. I was thinking about, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just told you to do something costs a little bit more money. So I should say, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just gave you some advice that costs you money. So I guess I get away with it because I'm a builder. So
Okay, this is just a comment for him to say that helped a lot. Thanks.
no, I keep it real. Definitely gave the clarity on the move forward. Thank you. You're welcome. Stay rich 33. That was
Okay,
awesome.
there we go.
Has anyone used DIY pools?
I haven't done
Wow. That must be a plastic or fiberglass pool. Or you just
that.
do
Do
it
you mean,
yourself.
yeah, do it yourself? Like we had friends that did a DIY pool, like, but he was so meticulous. He's a retired firefighter, and like he got someone to come in. He just self-managed it, right? Just like self-managed how to build your own home, but he did it for pools. Unless DIY Pools is a name brand. Is that a name brand?
No, I just think as when you use the DIY pools, I think maybe that might mean, have you ever done a DIY pool? But keep
Yeah.
in mind, a pool is 4 or 5 different subcontractors. It's not one. Plumbing, rebar, shotcrete, finish coat. That's really what, and they're all independent contractors. I don't know of a pool guy in my town that does it all. They will really sub it out to these independent contractors.
So that's what he's saying. Yes, it's a company that helps you get subs as the plans. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Never
that's
heard of
different. That's different. Yeah. I know an excavator, he charges $500 and he says, I'll give you 3 rebar, 3 shotcrete, 3 in each, and you can call them all and you can have them all bid. And he just charges $500 for that. That's what he's been doing for a while. And it's hard to find all those people. It really is. So and we're just about out of time here. I don't think anything else has come up.
it. A pool can be. Let's see.
A pool can be, but it does not have to be if you know what you're doing. Yeah. So I was almost a poem there. So don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, we appreciate it, MCG.
And then here's somebody after your own heart, Keith.
I watched the Hamlet production 2 or 3 times one weekend some time ago. Who's the best Hamlet of all time? I'll give you my take. It's he's doing a movie right now. Famous actor.
Oh,
Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
Mel Gibson has done the best Hamlet of all time. Not the Olivier version, not the Kenneth Branagh version, overly heady and whatever, but the Mel Gibson's version of Hamlet is the best. And Richard Burton, he didn't say to be or not to be. He said to live or die. He changed Shakespeare on the Burton version. And again, it was overly heady. Watch Mel Gibson's version because he's crazy. And Hamlet's not crazy. He's deliberately crazy. I'm not going to go into a full literature analysis of Hamlet in my old English days, but watch the Mel Gibson version. He's my favorite version. So
hey, we have a new person, Bandy, Crew Russell, Bahamas. Woohoo! We want to visit you.
Wow, we got people all over the North American continent right now. So that's great. We'll end it right there, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hold your questions and get ready for next week. And
we got one more minute.
We're here every Thursday.
Why do you use interior doors?
Because I've always wanted to have a basketball player, famous one, come to my home.
They look good. Opens up the space.
People are going for these days. So it's just a look. It's more costly, but it's now a popular design feature in the homes. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Again, from 5 to 6 Mountain Standard Time. We will be here every week, like the clock turns 12 o'clock twice a day. We're here every day. So every Thursday. We'll see you guys then. You guys take care.